You keep doing it. You do it throughout the.
John Connor, you talk too much.
Wasn't too bad. Hey guys, how's it going?
There's
We're here
not
to
enough
SpoilerCast.
bullets in the world.
We're here to SpoilerCast for Terminator Genisys. I'm excited to talk about this with you guys. Andrew can't stay here for too long, but he's going to stay for a little bit and share his general thoughts before he leaves. And me and Carrie dig deep into this.
To spoil this movie. I'm going to stay long enough to spoil the crap out of this movie.
Good. So spoiler alert. If you've not seen Terminator Genisys, leave now. This is the spoiler cast. So
we'll hold nothing back.
We will hold nothing back. Just like the name says, we will spoil. So heads up, I guess. But anywho, let's go ahead and talk about it. You go ahead and start us off, Andrew. We're gonna go ahead and give our general thoughts of this movie.
Okay, let's begin. Terminator Genisys. A few of my quick thoughts are: I didn't like it.
All right.
I thought that I was gonna like it. Honestly, the first 15 minutes of the movie, I was like, I'm gonna like it. I'm really gonna like it. I'm really gonna like this, and then I just didn't like it. No. It was between the actors, the performances, the actors. To say that the best performance was given by Arnold Schwarzenegger is saying that the movie was not good. I mean, and to say that, like, Terminator is the only movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger actually does exactly what he's supposed to do in, you know? And Jingle All the Way, but that's a different spoiler cast. You know, like, in this movie, you know, don't smile, and when you smile, or whatever that was, you know, like, just, it's so obvious, because I just watched I watched James Cameron's work with the franchise, and then, you know, it's so hard to go from James Cameron to this. It's,
Alan Taylor or whatever.
Yeah. I definitely not a fan of this movie at all. So.
All right. Thumbs up for being thumbs down.
Exactly.
I'll go ahead and speak my piece. Surprisingly, I'm fine with this movie. I thought it was pretty good. That's something I'm shocked about, because Andrew, I think I'm on an opposite track of you, because the first bit of it, I came into this movie arms crossed. I was grumpy, probably in a little bit of a bad mood. Through like the first 30 minutes of this movie, I was like, all right, I cannot be any less entertained. I wasn't enjoying it. But from the point where they traveled into 2017 on, I had a pretty good time with it. I had in different spots. I will definitely agree with you with a lot of the acting performances. Jai Courtney is an actor I've seen a few times, and he's not very interesting, is he? He's pretty wooden most of the time. He's bland, and so he was the main character of this movie. The story focuses around his point of view, and he just didn't do it for me. Arnold, I thought it was great. There were some humor parts that I thought were appalling. I thought some of the jokes fell as flat as a board. Like one of his first lines, like, that was very immature response, or something like that. I was like, oh, give me a break. And the whole cops thing, I thought was very dumb. The funny thing is like a lot of the things that I latched onto about this movie were the ideas, and I really liked those, even though they didn't really run with a lot of them as far as they needed to go by any stretch of the imagination. The ideas that brought up, at least, were cool. The action, some of it was good. Some of it, a lot of it, I felt like wasn't that special. But I'm going to go ahead and give it it's definitely a weak thumbs up for me. But still, I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed it, which at all, really, because my expectations were pretty low. Yes.
This movie is like watching a Little League game. It's like watching a small child play a Little League game, okay? Mm-hmm. Up batting, you know, the pitch comes in. The kid hits the ball. It goes into the outfield, and then doesn't run to first base. This movie is the ultimate letdown. Okay,
There's
it's
no
like,
way. Because like, here's my expectations. My expectations are set with Terminator Salvation. With Terminator Salvation is a movie I hate. Like seriously, I don't know why. I feel such venom for that movie, and it's just
because it didn't save anybody.
every single character. Because like with this movie, I feel like I'm sorry, but we're gonna get into it a little bit more. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and do that like comparison. But Carrie, real quick, tell us your thoughts on it, real quick.
My thoughts, as kind of like you, I went in expecting it to be really bad. Not saying it was good, but it's really just the concept of the story, the basis of everyone is just involved in about to go online with Genisys. That idea, like honestly, I was hoping this was going to be okay. They're not going to make anymore because I felt like it ended on a great way to end it. It's like, all right, we finally did it, but no, of course they're going to try and make more.
They still probably might not. We'll talk about that later. Maybe when we talk about, when I went to the theater like 20 minutes before the movie and was greeted by no one because there was no one in the theater. And
yeah, but
I was like, wow, this is bad.
It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, but at the same time, I'm not going to recommend anyone pay to go see it. And be like, wait till it comes out on Redbox or some other way, but I would not recommend paying to see it, even though
we did get enjoyment. I would say this is fine if you were in it on Blu-ray on Redbox. That would be just as well. But
yeah,
all right, let's go ahead and get into it. Andrew, would you say like you're not going to be here for the entire show? Go ahead and give us your rating, your 1 through 10 rating. I'm curious.
It falls. It's in between a 3 and a 4.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's like in bad territory.
Yeah.
So you thought, okay.
And I saw that it has like a 7 out of 10 on like IMDb, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just gonna be like, I've made a vow to myself to be more critical of movies and not be so accepting of like a complete failure. I mean, Terminator, as I'm calling it now, Robot Daddy, is
Robot.
You mean Pops?
Yeah, Terminator Robot Daddy is like it's like hanging out. Okay, it's like a grandfather that you don't understand, that like you're trying to communicate with, but they don't understand you. They don't understand what you need or want. And this movie was just not good. I mean, this guy is a lead character, did not feel it at all. The only movie I've ever seen him in where I was like, okay, this is reasonable, is because he was opposite of Bruce Willis, and I would say that even that movie, put those two movies side by side, and A Good Day to Die Hard and Terminator Robot Daddy, and I would take A Good Day to Die Hard over this movie.
Oh God.
Any day. Okay. And that movie was appalling.
Yeah.
Compared to the franchise.
What did you? Okay, while we're talking about performances, I completely agree with you with Jai Courtney. I've never found him to be appealing as an actor. He's neat, but nor does he grate on me, which I can't say that's a plus. That fact that I can't stand that I'm able to stand you. I found him fine, but he did nothing for me. Emilia Clarke was off and on for me, and her role as Sarah Connor.
I agree.
Completely different character than what was portrayed in the first Terminator with Hamilton.
What I would argue about that is that a lot of people that are going to see this movie, because she's in it, are like big Game of Thrones fans, and they're bringing positive emotions into the performance that makes them be so forgiving of the performance.
That's as someone who is sort of a Game of Thrones fan, I've kind of fallen off. I will say that I'm not a fan of hers in particular, so I'm not bringing much love.
Okay, good.
I'm not like in Game of Thrones, she's not my favorite character. I don't marvel at her acting or at her charm or anything like that. And I'm not even really saying that she's amazing in this. I'm saying she's serviceable because for a few good things and interesting things that they did with her, they did a few terrible things that I really didn't like. Anytime there's a few things about this character that I liked. The fact that it is a different character than the one that we see in Terminator. I like that. It makes sense. She's a completely different person that's set up within the movie. The fact that this is a definitely different timeline, and that she's almost like this 80s chick almost. Like she's played really young at certain points, but the problem I have with her at certain points, she's very much not. Like her opening line is, come with me if you want to live. Come on, soldier, or whatever. I'm like, that doesn't work for me. That like when she's trying to force that, it doesn't play well for me. When she's trying to force that like confidence, when she's like, don't uncuff my handcuffs. It's like, don't do that. Come on, that seems forced. But when she's like being a little bit more genuine and she's like listening to music or she's like bickering with the T-800 and stuff like that, and she reminded me of like some 80s chick. I like that. I'm like, that works for me for some reason. Did she work for you at all, Carrie?
I mean, the thing is, I heard she was someone in Game of Thrones, but I didn't know it was her at first because I
very different.
I haven't started Game of Thrones, so I went and actually looked. I was like, oh, okay, that's who she is.
Daenerys Targaryen.
But
such a nerd.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of like Jai Courtney. No one really did anything for me.
Okay.
Like, it was really the story, even though there wasn't much of one, but still, I'm trying to remember the guy who plays
John Connor?
Yeah.
Jason Clarke.
Yeah, Jason Clarke. I mean, he was probably the thing for me just because I've seen him in a few other things, and I was like, oh, okay, I like him in those movies. So,
I actually liked him here.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. There's no performance here that is amazing. There's no performance that if I saw it or whatever, I'm going to stand at attention to observe. But there's ones that I'm like, this is working for me or it's not. And like with Emilia Clarke, it was off and on whether it was working for me or it wasn't. There was a lot of it that it wasn't. And I feel like while I'm being kind of like a defender of this, I'm not saying that I thought this movie was great. Mighty stretch. My rating will kind of stand to that. But Jason Clarke, I felt like he worked for me as a villain. As a villain, I feel like kind of at the beginning when he was a kind of kindly John Connor. Not John Carter, no. But I felt like he worked for me. I'm trying to kind of do a lot of we usually do the good and the bad, but since Andrew has to leave early, I'm kind of mixing it here. What good stuff did you like about the movie, if there was any?
It really gave a new perspective to me of what love is and what romance should be. And, if I was traveling through time to be set up on a blind date with a woman that I had to mate with in order to save humanity, it's just a charming, charming tale. And have an Austrian man tell me that I need to mate with this guy. Or this girl, and not this guy. I wouldn't mate with the guy. Well, I don't know. That probably the only redeeming thing was.
Man, you're really struggling.
I'm really struggling. I mean, it was probably only the best part was the horrible humor to me because I appreciate dumb, like, humor, I think. So for Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm kind of in the opposite boat that you're in because I really thought that it was going to go someplace productive when they went back to 1984 and they redid those couple scenes that I had just watched and I was like, dang, it's going down, and then they ruined it and it went flat.
Yeah, it kind of like I feel like that would have even like the 2017 stuff would even probably be better for me if they didn't. We have to bring this up. Spoil the crap out of this movie in the trailers. Egregious that they did that. I think it's one of the worst cases of spoiling a movie in the trailers I've ever seen in my entire life. I can say that plainly because seeing that part in 2017 when John Carter reveals himself to be the next Terminator, is supposed to be shocking.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be, and it fell flat because like I'm like, okay, I saw the trailer. They were in a parking garage. All right, he's in a parking garage. Okay, T-800 is gonna come out and shoot him, and he's gonna come back up. And so it was supposed to be tension when you have Sarah Connor and John holding a gun to Arnold's head, being like, when he's like, you're a killer. You're supposed to think, well, are you?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, he's gonna get back up. He knows what he is, and stuff like that. And so that fell completely flat, which is really unfortunate. But I mean, for me, the whole stuff in the beginning was kind of like, I was playing it like a symphony. Like, oh yeah, it was like cool to see the scene of like the T-800 fighting himself, like the whole "you're not gonna need any clothes," like him kind of almost like the first movie's being interrupted. Like that was definitely cool, but like for me, I was like just so by the numbers. Mainly, I'm not gonna give very many compliments to the action or the CGI of this movie. I felt most of it to either be serviceable or bad.
Yeah.
For the most part.
I agree with you. And the last thing that I will say.
I can't hear you, Andrew.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
I think you're cutting out there a little bit.
Can you hear me now, Bueller?
Ooh, I wonder if you can hear us.
Yeah, hello?
Hey,
Hello?
buddy, can't hear you. I'm sorry.
I'm going to act it out.
Oh, we're doing the rest of the review, and okay. Yeah,
I don't
know what he's saying. It's
hello?
It's
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
bit.
Nothing.
Yeah, that's weird.
Nothing.
Yikes. Well, anyways, Andrew, we'll have to talk
Can you
about
hear
this
me
at a
now?
later date.
Can you hear me now?
You're continuing to try to talk. This is weird.
All right.
But
Yeah.
goodbye. Farewell.
Peace.
Enjoy dinner with your wife.
Yep.
All right, Carrie.
All right.
It's up to us to talk about this movie.
It's okay.
As kind of like the things I latched on in this movie, and maybe I can admit that maybe I'm latching a little too hard, are the ideas that it did bring up, because it brought up a lot of fascinating ideas. I will say were abandoned pretty quickly and dropped. The idea of having someone that you're fated to be with, and you know that, and you're just waiting to see who he is, waiting to see who he becomes. That's interesting. Botched completely.
Yeah.
Terrible. One of the worst romances I've ever seen.
It's like picked up and dropped. It's like, okay, now you're just too inconsistent for me.
Because like the ideas are incredible. The potential for them is incredible. The fact that like not only am I here to say that, to find out that I'm supposed to be the one to be with you, and that here I am, the one you've been anticipating to be with. This is me. What do you think? And also to say like, here's the person who's supposed to be your son. Here, full grown, completely different than what we thought, turned into something that we're fighting against. And John Connor finding out that he's the father of the man that he looked up to for his entire life is fascinating.
Crazy. That was crazy.
But they did so little with it. I couldn't help but be a little disappointed, but still kind of be impressed with the thought to even bring it up a little bit, because it was brought up. It was brought up. I'm not going to go ahead and be as, mean to say that it wasn't, but they just didn't do much with it. Like, and how the resolution with the love story was pathetic.
Yeah, if you're looking at, like I said, the only real storyline that I enjoyed was the basis of them stopping the machines, was stopping Genisys from going online, which, okay, we'll just go over it. Genisys is basically this operating system that's going to interconnect all your lives through your phone, your tablet, kind of like the cloud, except more invasive.
Yeah.
If you've seen Her, it's kind of a lot like that.
Oh man, I got a lot of flashbacks from that movie.
Exactly. So it's a lot like Her, but basically if they can stop Genisys, they save the world. That was the only concept that I actually enjoyed. I mean, my whole thought, I was like, okay, it's like, this could seriously be the way they end the whole thing. They could end it right here. And I mean, sure, they were trying to speak to today's society and how we're always on our phones or technology, which I'm not saying isn't true, but still, that was honestly
played out. That whole message, like Her did it better by saying that, but never like going out and saying it. Like they just showed it in the background and it was done well. But yes, it's like, okay, we've heard this message before. We know we're slaves to our iPhones. Move on.
Other than that, though, there isn't really much redeeming qualities about this movie. I mean, Arnold's performance, what I expected, had nothing wrong with him. Emilia Clarke, I mean, I've never really seen her in anything, so she didn't really bother me at all. Jai Courtney, I mean, it's kind of like you said, he doesn't grind you, but at the same time, you're just like, whatever. It's more like I'm looking at the supporting cast around him. Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna bring up a few of the things that I like. We're gonna kind of like probably go back and forth. I'll probably bring up some bad stuff too. But I feel like there's a lot. This movie is getting a really bad rap, like really bad. Like it's like that. It's like the worst thing ever. And I feel like as far as reboots and remakes go, it could have gone a lot worse. And like to come out of this movie, like because to say like a lot of the problems I'm thinking of were thought, a lot of them were thought in the movie. But I was able to be taken for a ride in this movie, and I was able to actually get lulled into it in a way where I was able to enjoy the experience. And a lot of the problems that followed, a lot of them, not all, were developed in my head while thinking about it retrospectively. But one good thing that I thought was interesting and different, because a lot of people are saying it's the same thing, which definitely does follow the Terminator template of, Terminator being outmatched and the underdog, and then pretty much getting his butt kicked throughout the entire movie until the environment presented an opportunity for him to win. That's how he wins in every single one. A few things that were different that I thought they kind of mixed it up well were the first movie, the second and third movie are very much about time travel, and that's a theme throughout the movie, and it's kind of like this mysterious thing that we know of. This is the first one that was about time traveling, and doing the actual time travel was a big part of the movie, and going to different times and us following the main character to 3 different time periods. I thought that was interesting, and it's something that is kind of new to the series to see that in a more in-depth way and being along for that ride instead of kind of being grounded in one time period. Also, they didn't kill the Terminator. That's something that happens at the end of each and every one, which, while it was a twist, when I saw his, charred robot corpse getting thrown into the T-1000 liquid, I knew immediately what was going to happen.
Exactly.
But that it was a twist when I saw him getting flung. I was like, oh, they're going to keep him alive this time. How about that? Even though it was kind of ruined, the fact that they kind of had that set up while being like, no, we don't need to worry about it. As long as it's not a computer in there, it cannot function or whatever.
Oh my.
It was kind of ruined by him kind of going into detail about that. But anyways, let's talk. There are a lot of bad stuff I can bring up, and I will, because I don't want to act like I'm being too kind to this movie, because there's some bad stuff. One of the biggest crimes, as I said, that this movie commits is the fact that it wastes a lot of idea potential, because like another good idea that it presents is the fact that John Connor explicitly says he does not want to annihilate humanity. He wants humanity, instead of annihilation, assimilation. Where whatever he is, this is another fault of the movie, where they didn't really go into the fact of whether it's if he's been turned and if he's kind of being brainwashed or anything like that, or if he's had his mind actually changed by seeing the side of the machines. They didn't go into that. They just gave minor lip service to the fact that this is the way to live. This is how it should be. So instead of annihilating the human race, narrowing it down in assimilation. So that's interesting. And so you can there was potential there to be able to empathize with his character. And I can tell that they tried a little bit, not enough.
See, that makes me upset just thinking about that now, though, because it's like, wow, that would have been a great way to take the story in about assimilation. Because I mean, then they could make a bunch of more movies like they're gonna do anyway, I'm sure, but have it based around assimilating and things like that. But oh man,
it makes me think that they had some good writers on this thing, but they had a little bit of confliction, saying we could talk about this more, or we can have an action scene. And so that's an unfortunate, because as far as Terminator goes, I feel like this was one of the weaker ones when it came to action.
Yeah.
Honestly, when that sucks, because if the story or ideas aren't grabbing you, and all you have to lean on is the action, you can go to the second movie and find way better action
Yeah.
than that. I'm sorry. Like all the movie stuff that's memorable about those movies, even the third one with like the crane
Yeah.
and I was like smashing the building, that's memorable, and I'll not forget that. But probably the most memorable of the movies of this movie is the school bus one. That the biggest part of it was just the flip itself.
And that was in a trailer.
Yeah,
I was like,
and it was in the trailer.
That was in the trailer. I was like, there's no, I mean, it wasn't surprising. Like literally, like you said, the trailer gave away way too much.
Yeah.
Because that's like everything I saw. I was like, all right.
Everything cool that the action had to offer, it was rooted in the trailer.
Yeah.
It may have been fun to watch Arnold say, "I'll be back," and then head dive into a helicopter.
Yeah.
That may have been fun, but it was
I knew it was
in
coming.
every single trailer. It was where you're waiting for it. Like, oh, they're getting to a helicopter, or they're coming. Oh, they're getting a school bus. When's it gonna flip? It's really terrible. Like, how much I feel like this trailer poorly affects this movie, and I feel like it's impossible to be able to go back and say like, to watch a movie with fresh eyes, not seeing the trailers, being like, how would I feel if I didn't know this was coming? It's impossible because the biggest parts of this movie were spoiled.
Yep.
And that's just how it is. I don't know why, but I feel like the movie thinks that have like withholding the Matt Smith, the actor who plays one of the doctors in Doctor Who, that withholding him was like an ace up the sleeve. I'm sorry, I don't care about him. I mean, I know a lot of people like that actor, but you're withholding a lot of stuff for the sequels.
Yeah.
But there's an art to that. I feel like you need to give the audience enough to the mystery to care, and then leave some back for mystery to have them come back for more. But don't give them just enough so they know that something's up and being set up, but not enough to care about it.
Yeah.
It's a failing. It really is. And like, I can tell that they're trying to do some really good things, which probably is why I'm giving it so much grace, to where that Terminator Salvation was so bland, so boring when it came to every single aspect of that movie. But at least they're trying new things here, but they're just not doing it. Their execution isn't happening.
I mean, overall, when I was watching the movie, I was like, okay, I don't hate the fact that I came to watch this movie. I was like, okay, it's a bearable movie. But thinking about it after, I mean, I couldn't watch this movie again. But if you go in no expectations, you'll probably be fine. If you go in expecting, oh, they're going to do great, or it'll be completely different, you're going to be very unhappy with yourself.
And I can definitely, I think it's fair that a lot of people are upset with this movie, and because those first two movies are very good, and and why, I'm kind of giving away some of my thoughts towards the end of the podcast, why I kind of put this above the third one, in my opinion, is because it's trying to do something different. And while definitely there are some samey things here that happens in every single one, that again, Terminator fights an unstoppable machine and gets his butt whooped until the environment gives him an opportunity to win. It did more than the third movie, like story wise and plot wise and character wise, even. Like they're trying, which I don't know. I wish I knew what the problem was. I wish I knew I mean, I know what the problem is. I just wish I knew what got in the way. Is it the studio? Is it the director? Like,
I mean, there's so many things that could have.
So many things that could have gone wrong, because I think there's a good movie buried beneath the problems, and that can't be said about every bad movie. And again, I don't think this movie's bad. I think it's fine, but it could have been something worthy of the name Terminator, which is funny because that I'm even saying that, because we just had a discussion saying that like Ghostbusters people are getting mad that people are saying Ghostbusters is getting ruined when there was only one really good movie. There's only been 2 really good Terminator movies, albeit they were fantastic. Terminator Salvation is horrible and I hate it, and Terminator 3 is okay. Like I can watch that just for a laugh or a few thrills, and I feel like I can put this movie in that same place, in my book at least. I mean, as like something you can watch every now and then, as to be like, oh. And the thing that's unfortunate with this, and with a lot of movies that really bank on the sequel, I don't know if it's gonna get one.
I really, really hope they don't, because like I said, I feel like I mean, if they didn't have that extra scene at the end of the credits, I thought it was ultimately a good way to just say, you know what? We're going to leave it at that. If we want to do another one, we'll just have a scene play in the new movie that shows what actually happened, kind of leading into it. But overall, I really wish they didn't have that scene in there.
Yeah, and it's really kind of like ambiguous scene of I guess who Matt Smith is playing is kind of like the embodiment of Skynet.
Yeah.
Whether or not he was looking upon his own mainframe or like
heart,
something that
whatever you want to call it,
or maybe something else that he's subservient to. I don't know, but a lot of things. It really does upset me because like this movie is better in my head than it really is, and it really sucks because I latch onto the ideas because like I think the thought that like that they do with the time travel is interesting because it seems like Matt Smith's character, based on just a little bit that he does say when he's, you know, that flashback with John Connor, it seems like this is a game of chess played throughout time.
Yep.
And I feel like that idea is fascinating. The fact that he said like you always do this as if he's like been through this before.
Yep.
That is cool, but they don't do anything with it. They set it up just to drop it and to say come back for the sequel.
And that's why it would have been great to just stop it and then really reevaluate the whole series. Be like, okay, we just opened up a whole new just wide spectrum of things we can do with this. Let's pull from the ideas that we've set in there sporadically, but pull some of those ideas together and make a whole new story.
Which I feel like maybe probably would be the best way to go about it. But it's a shame that it's so set up for a sequel because even more that they say like there's mystery there other than the full thing at the end. Like they leave it as a mystery who originally sent back the T-800 into the 70s, because that's pretty much what changed everything. That's the catalyst that we're able to have this story in that it's not the same events that happened in the first movies, because someone sent a T-1000 back and someone sent a T-800 back, and that T-1000 was destroyed by the T-800 and the T-800 raised Sarah Connor. That whole idea is the only thing that made this that made this a reboot, and they didn't say what it was. They left it to the sequel, and the sequel that we may not ever get. And if that's the case, that's infuriating, and that makes this movie even more irrelevant if that's the case. And I feel like movies these days need to be careful with that. It keeps happening, like where they like such heavy assumption on the sequel is it's dangerous and potentially frustrating in multiple different ways. Even if it's good setup, the fact that the movie might flop and it may never get any, a la Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is such a huge setup for the sequels that Sony assumed that it was going to
they were getting. But
I don't want to talk about that too much, but that's just the thing that I'm really just starting to get annoyed with these movies, and it's unfortunate. But sorry, to focus more on this movie, what are some of the worst moments of it for you? Some of the worst cringeworthy moments that you had yourself rolling your eyes at in the theater?
I'd almost say it was most of the love scenes between Jai Courtney and Emily Clark. I was sitting there watching, I'm just like, I don't feel any attraction between you two. I feel like you're just forcing your love. And oh yeah, how am I supposed to love him? This is the guy that's supposed to have my kid that's supposed to save the world. Am I gonna do this? And then his little seemingly attempts to be like, hey, I kind of do like you, but wow, I can't do this. No, if I can't just force love upon you. I don't know. It was a weird
awful scene.
Any scene with those two together, ultimately just I didn't feel anything. And it was like kind of like we said, the actors themselves, I wasn't feeling it at all.
No chemistry.
None
whatsoever.
None at all. That's what made it. That was probably the most unbearable thing for me, was watching their scenes together, because I'm just like, it's whatever. You're gonna force love into this movie. That's what you guys are ultimately doing, is forcing the love.
And it was so bad because like the dialogue, like they were bickering the entire movie, And out of nowhere, they have that scene where they're hiding out and they're kind of talking about it. Yeah, so he's our son or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, and you're supposed to love me. And he's like, well, I do. And I'm like, wait, what?
Exactly. It's like,
wait a minute.
How?
When did that happen?
You've known her for a few hours, maybe a day or two, but you guys have been running and doing all these. I have seen no connection time that would involve you saying, I love her.
And then to bring it up so matter-of-factly in this like throwaway line, it's just like, wait, okay, how stupid do you think we are, movie?
Yeah.
Is this, a slap in the face for anyone like me who may have thought that the idea of them, fated to fall in love was interesting.
Even if they had made it a process, so have little hints, but nothing actually, like him saying that was really what killed it. I do. It's like, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. You guys have been running for your lives, been doing crazy, ridiculous things. No.
And really, if they didn't do that, it would have been good.
Yeah.
I think that would have been good.
Yeah.
If they didn't and I feel like maybe that was a conflict. Maybe they said, no, we need a love story here. And I feel like there were people, because it seems like it's in the script. It really does seem like it's in the script for them to not do anything with the first movie and them just be like, all right, I mean, we're growing,
laying the foundation.
We're laying the foundation for something, but nothing has happened yet. And like, because it's notable that they do not have sex in this movie, and so like, so far they have not created, like a future John Connor. I keep saying John Carter, but it's probably gonna make as much money as that movie and lose as much.
Not as good a movie though.
Yeah, but like, it's unfortunate because again, the idea is fantastic, and it seems like there was just infighting there to where someone said, no, we have to have a love story, and the good ideas and the clever things went out the window.
Yeah.
And dialogue and like ideas being thrown around could have been more interesting other than just an action scene that was spoiled for us in the trailer. It's just bleh.
So what was your worst thing though?
There was a few moments where I had to turn around and look at. There were just small moments where I just found myself jerked out of the movie and just what? Okay, there's one big plot thing that I never understood. My friend Michael Krams, he brought it up. We were talking about it before the movie, saying one of the horrible things in Terminator Salvation was why were they keeping like death camps for like the humans and like concentration camps? They're here to extinguish them. Why are they keeping them around? And while this movie may be trying to answer that question, maybe with assimilation, it doesn't really seem that way because that was obviously not set up in that movie.
Yeah.
And in this movie, in the prologue, they say humans were taking prisoner for extermination. That makes no sense.
It's like, what? We're going to keep them. We're just going to kill off a few here and there.
No, yeah. I'm like, what? No, kill them. Why are you doing this, machines? And another thing that jerked me out, I just found it so weird and just ridiculous that scene where they're presenting Genisys for the first time or whatever to the public. And he's like, and we also have someone who'd like to express how they can't wait to see you. And out comes this creepy little boy. And it was like, hello, I can't wait to be a part of your lives. I was like, oh my jeez,
yeah,
that's horrifying. Why would anybody want this creepy, clearly evil child?
It's like, have you not seen any horror movies out?
Yeah,
children are the devil.
These little creepy robot children are monsters. It's like someone from like Children of the Damned or something. It's
Children of the Cold.
Oh, it's horrible. And one funny thing we discussed a little bit after the movie is for a split second, this is not the case, but for a split second in the movie, you know how like Amelia Clarke or whatever, Sarah Connor goes into where the Terminator's been hiding out, Arnold, or Pops as we might call him, and sees like the things of hers that he kept, the drawings, the stereo, which I always thought was cool for some reason, just hearing her like, listen, I want to be sedated, like gaming. Yeah, that's like part of the 80s chick thing that I like about her. But I saw the crayon drawings of her for like a solid minute. I was like, wait, so he drew those? I thought like,
yep,
I had this vision of him with crayons, like, I miss you, Sarah, or something like just drawing with the crayons. And but no, that was her. I don't know what I was thinking, but
I thought the same thing. But I was like, no, he's a machine. He'd be able to draw better than that.
Yeah,
it's like his sketch was horrible. So,
another thing that's bad, really inconsistent CGI. there were some good moments for sure. For sure, I thought the effects used on John Carter, for crying out loud, stop it, Taylor Kitsch, get out of my head. It's another actor whose career probably isn't going to go anywhere in another year. John Connor. The effects on him I thought were pretty good. Him like going into the nanobots, I thought that looked pretty good. Just that whole everything done with him, like the blood, like after, like rippling and turning into. I thought that was cool. A lot of the first scene that shows like the nuke going off looked like television CGI.
Yeah.
I thought it looked horrible. Just like every now and then, just here and there, it's like almost like they skimmed over it. They're like focused on the explosion, but not the rocket. They won't notice the rocket going off. They'll notice the explosion looks fine. Nothing other than, I think I wasn't impressed by any of the CGI other than the John Carter effect. I thought that was the only thing that looked good and looked interesting. But everything else I thought looked pretty, if not distracting, bad.
Yeah.
That scene where they're on the bus and it's hanging off the edge looked so green screen.
Oh my god.
Terribly green screen. I thought that was the worst effect in the movie. It pulled me out the most, seeing like John Connor like climb his way up and just him against like the background of the water. It was just looked terrible. Like flat out bad. And like super dated graphics. But those are probably the things that stand out to me as the worst moments. And this talking about best moments is going to be difficult for me because, as I said, the things that I've been praising about the movie has been mainly the ideas and the new things, and they're not really
that weren't really there.
They're not moments. They're more of just opportunity and kind of just direction. But to
it
talk
all comes
about
back to the bad, because it's like. They had a good idea. They did nothing with it. So, I mean, it's...
To talk about good moments, it's difficult because, honestly, again, a lot of those good moments in the trailer, because, honestly, looking at it, I was trying so hard to be, like, blinded, basically be like, Jordan, pretend you didn't see the trailer and see it with fresh eyes. That scene where, John Connor is revealed. I thought that was a legitimately good moment. It was a good moment. It was spoiled, and so I didn't feel anything. But it was done well. That would have been a fantastic twist. I probably wouldn't have seen it coming. I would have been like, "Oh, cool! John Connor's joining the action." How did he? But that was completely spoiled. But it was good. It was well done, and it was. He came out of nowhere with that bear and shot him, and it just. Like, I don't understand why it took so long to get up, while every other single time he gets shot, it barely affects him at all.
I guess his first time being shot?
Maybe. He kind of does have that reaction like, oh, that hurt. Or did it?
Yeah.
Or he's kind of like...
realizing his new body and the way it works, probably. But.
Yeah, like he's just experiencing pain or something, or what pain is supposed to be, or whatever.
Disassimilation.
I thought that whole part was good. That entire thing where they're talking... and kind of like telling him what he wants to do or whatever. And then when he goes after him, that little tussle, that little thing when he was against the MRI machine.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was good.
And his being pulled back and pieces of it. Yeah.
Cool effect. Yeah. And I also thought like it was one good moment that Jai Courtney had, that look of like disbelief and just like that he just can't believe that his mentor has turned into this, where he's like hoping to see like that it's not real, and he's just looking at him like that. I thought that was really good. And he's like,
for a while I thought it was gonna be like a bad dream. Like I thought somewhere when he was going back in time, something happened and his mind was going through a different time scenario, but he was gonna wake up and be like seeing a whole different world, and it was gonna basically start over and say, all right, you just saw what could have happened, what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah. And it sucks that it really does suck that the whole idea was spoiled. And so like we had months to think about the possibilities before seeing the movie, whether or not we obsessed over it, because I clearly didn't, but I definitely mulled it over a few times after seeing the trailer of being like, so wait, does that mean, and stuff like that. And so, man, that's a terrible waste. Whoever cut that trailer should be ashamed of themselves, and the studio should be ashamed that they let it happen, because Alan Taylor has come out and said that he was very upset that was the trailer that was cut. and that how much was spoiled after it. And after that, there was a poster that was made that has him as the half robot, half man. That also, if you didn't see the trailer, there you go. Right? So they're covering their bases there, and I just such a cool moment how he rose up all kind of inhuman, how he's like like a monster. Oh man, it sucks so bad. Other good things, I thought all the recreation stuff that they did, good. They did a good job recreating certain things in the beginning of the movie. One, they did a good job recreating the future. Terminator Salvation seemed like a different universe. It didn't seem like it was the same future that we saw in the glimpses in the first and second movie. But this, it seemed like, oh yeah, we're spending a lot more time here in that same world that was presented. Just the color palette, just how it looked and how just everything looked. It looked right, it looked authentic. It looked Terminator. It was great. Other good thing, shoot.
I know, it's like I was like, wow, I was like, I can see where you're getting these good things, but I'm like, ultimately every time I think of a good thing, I'm like, it's actually a bad thing. It's just a bad thing.
I thought they did a good job recreating young Arnold. It's probably one of the best I've seen with the whole young face thing. You know?
Well, the thing is, the guy who actually who played that body, that's a real guy who he actually very much so looks like Arnold. So they didn't actually have to tinker so much CGI wise on his face.
Yeah, I heard they got like the body measurements down and stuff like that, and it seemed like it's really good attention to detail. Like it's really well done. It seems like so much, like, because that's the thing that's so it's a shame, because so much effort was put into this movie on certain. You can tell there's a group of people who were putting genuine effort into it, and there was a group of people who wanted to make a buck. And they were conflicting. I could feel it throughout the movie, and like I can even feel like Arnold's passion. Arnold Schwarzenegger obviously has a passion. For this, obviously, and he feels at home here. And it's.
I feel like he wants resolution. Like he wants a good movie to resolve everything and be like, yes, now I can finally put my role as Terminator down.
Because it was like a slap in the face seeing him in how good the recreation was done here. Seeing it in Terminator Salvation is a nightmare. Seeing CGI Arnold Schwarzenegger fight freaking Sam Worthington, or it was just awful. And so I'm sure it was like a big slap in the face to him. He wasn't able to do it at the time. I'm sure he was a governor of California at the time, which is funny to look back on. But man, it is frustrating talking about it. Because,
exactly. Like, I'm just getting upset.
Because thinking about it, it's like I only have the ideas, and I can enjoy the ideas in my head being like, oh man. And then just talking about it makes me realize how bad they failed the ideas that they set up. And it's a ball that was dropped so hard. But as I said, like the movie had a good pace to it. I will say that it was paced well. Like that's why I wasn't bored. Like in a movie where that's kind of bad but has a terrible pacing, but like the fact that like the good stuff I was able to latch onto, and it was able to keep going at a steady pace to
so where you couldn't focus on the negatives as much.
Exactly. I was able to enjoy the movie while watching it. And so that's there's something to be said about that for sure. It didn't feel overly long to me. And that's always a crime that takes you out of it. But shoot, before we give our ratings, any other open discussion things you want to bring up about the movie, just out of anywhere, really? I like the music.
I was about to say, I was like, the music, I was listening to some of that. I put some of that on my running playlist because it got me hyped. But I don't know. The very beginning of the movie, just them going over the prologue, for some reason I got excited. I was like, you know what? I don't know. Maybe it'll turn it around. I don't know what it was about them just telling the story and the music that was all peaceful, and then it's slowly building. I was like, all right, this could be good. That's where I got hope. Because like I said, I went into it very like, oh man, I hope this is bearable. And the music started and they started the story, and I was like, okay, all right, I'm ready. And then I sat down, nestled into my little spot, and I was waiting for it. And I was like, but too much missed opportunity.
It's funny how I keep hearing that. Like, I mean, you're not the first person I heard that from. Like, saying that the first part was definitely better. And I mean, there might be something wrong with my standards, but I don't know, or maybe it was my mindset, because I was, again, arms folded, grumpy during that first bit. Like, just seeing that T1000, I was like, doesn't look as good. how did it get there? What's going on? Seems really just played out. And then when they time traveled, I was just like, all right, some new stuff is happening. I don't know, but either way, it's obviously whether or not you enjoyed it or not, or came on like the side I am or like the side Andrew is, or actually I think we're kind of like on different ends of the spectrum. Andrew, no redemption
Clearly
for this movie, despised the movie, and that's fine. You are, it's a mixed bag, but it's definitely a lot more poo-poo in that mixed bag than there is good. I'm in the where I found a little. I may be giving it a little bit more credit than it deserves, but I am finding a little bit more nuggets in there. So it's like a mixed bag with a little bit more nuggets in there than bags of poo. But let's go ahead and rate it. But what would you rate this movie out of 10?
I gave it. My rating will actually probably might seem a little bit higher than expected. I gave it anywhere between like I say a 5.5.
5.5.
Or 5.5 or 6.
I'm going 6.5 on this one. I'm gonna watch it again, not in theaters, but I'm going to watch it again at some point because, especially if they tend to make a sequel out of this, because I feel like there's potential. I really do.
There is.
I feel I especially if they continue this thing of this being a game of chess through time in the time war. I find that intriguing, and I want to follow our characters through time as they kind of like try to stop whatever this Matt Smith character is, or if John Connor's dead or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's potential there, and I feel like they can come up with something better than what they have here. I just think they should need to have fun with it. And I don't know. But yeah, I give it a 6.5, and I feel like it's better than a lot of people are saying. I feel like a lot of people are coming on the side of that. I'm sorry that Andrew's not here to exactly fully defend his point of view, because I respect that and I can understand that. But I don't think movie was terrible or unwatchable. I think it's a very watchable movie. That's the thing that I think it's very watchable. Like for me, Salvation was just not watchable. It was a movie that, in a lot of these Transformer movies, I find me looking at my clock saying, okay, movie, be over. And I did not have that with this movie. I found a lot of enjoyment, but yeah, I think we can all agree on some level that there needs to be some improvement here.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I really just wish they had taken the ideas, laid the groundwork to redo a good series to give it closure, so that Arnold could actually, because I don't feel like I can't speak for him, but I feel like he just feels, oh, okay, we'll do another one until they get it right. Like, I feel like he really wants closure for his movie.
Arnold, yeah.
And so, but he's just going to keep going along until they finally get that story right. So hopefully they take these ideas, if they do the sequel, they do it right, and just try to be original, try to use the ideas that they hinted at or touched on for even a second. I mean, because they had a lot of good ideas. They just actually have to take one of them and actually use that idea.
They probably could have done with a few less ideas, probably. And if they can, so instead of having so many potentially great ideas, they could have a one or two and flesh them out, actually.
It would have been a good movie because, like you said, the time travel, the assimilation of humans and the machines together. I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot of missed opportunities, and that's the reason why I rate it so low, because it's like, it is like, I was fine through the movie. I wasn't like, man, I just wanted to end. I was like, okay, it was good, or not good, but it was
good.
Yeah, it felt, I was like, okay. I wasn't angry that I spent money on it when I was done. But at the same time, I just saw a lot of hope.
Yeah, which is the most dangerous emotion at all, as Bane says. I fed them hope to poison their souls. My Bane impression is getting worse and worse, man.
It's actually not that bad.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. I'm getting ready to bury it, ready to rest, and start working on my Green Goblin impression.
Oh my!
The heart, Norman. First, attack the heart. All right. Finish it. From evil. Ah, sleep. We need to have a Spider-Man spoiler cast.
Oh,
I'll whip
man.
that baby out
Oh man, that'd be
every
a
few
good
seconds for sure. Maybe we'll have a big Spider-Man marathon before.
one. Maybe he'll dress up as the Green Goblin.
Trust me. For Halloween one year, I looked so hard because I wanted to show up in full Sam Raimi Green Goblin regalia and just be in character the entire night, but it's really expensive.
I said it would have been great.
I just wanted that mask, and I could like improvise the other. If I just had that stupid helmet,
Walk around in a robe.
out am I? Yeah, see. Okay, I'm done. Guys, if you have any opinions on this movie, please share them with us. We'd love to discuss whether you hated it, whether you loved it, whether you're kind of in the middle, sort of like we are. Let us know. Or if there's any movies like Spider-Man you want us to review, also let us know that. You can contact seizure. Sorry, you can contact us in any which way. You can follow us on Twitter at MTGPod or on Facebook.com/MTGPodcast or on what did I just say?
YouTube?
Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, YouTube's good. Follow us on YouTube. Leave us a message down below if you're watching this video right now. Just leave us a little comment, question, whatever. Yeah. And check out what we're doing. And we hope to talk to you later.
All right, guys.
We'll see you later.